So today's class is common desktop operations. So in the last class, I had already sent an offline video for this. Have you checked out that offline video? If you have not seen that offline video, please go there and please see the offline video, okay? And understand everything. I have explained everything using Windows 10 platform as well as Windows 7 platforms. Understood? The first thing is common desktop operations, adding icons to the desktop. So how to add icons to the desktop? I had explained it that day. So we'll just repeat it. Right click on your desktop and here we'll go to which option? Personalize. Okay. So you get the personalized window like this, and on here, that is towards the right hand side, you will find this option that is showing desktop icons. So just click on this. Sorry, you have to first go to themes, and here you will get desktop icon settings. Now in this, you can see right now all these icons, these main icons, they are already visible on my desktop. So if you want to remove any of them, like you want to remove control panel and network, just uncheck the box, click on OK. Okay, and go to your desktop and you will be able to see that that icon has been removed. Prakhar Yadav, keep yourself mute. Do not unmute without the teacher's permission. So this is how you can add icons. Next is hiding desktop icons. So how you can hide the desktop icons. Right click on the desktop and in this go to view, and here you can see an option show desktop icons. Right now you can see a check mark. It shows that this desktop icons are visible. If you click it again, all the icons are gone, and if you check it, the check mark has been gone. If you click again, all your desktop icons will appear, reappear, and this check mark also reappear. Next is adding shortcut icons on your desktop. Where did my mouse pointer go? Wait a second, students. My mouse pointer is causing some problem. So it. Okay. I'm unable to see the mouse pointer. I don't know. Did I press some button? Okay. Just give me a moment, students. My mouse pointer is not visible and hence causing some problems. Students, I'll have to leave the meeting. Do not hang up, okay? Please be there. I'll quickly just log off and log in on my Windows desktop, okay? Because as you can see, my mouse pointer is not visible. So stay here only. Do not leave the meeting. I'll be joining in 1 minute. Okay, I'll be joining within 1 minute.
मैम टास्क मैनेजर खोलो इससे अच्छा
Can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so there was some problem with my system. I wasn't able to see the mouse pointer. It wasn't visible. So now it's visible again, maybe because of any some unknown action, it was not visible. So I'm going to open the PPT once again. So I was over here. Next is adding shortcut icons on the desktop. So how you can add shortcut icons? You can add shortcuts for any application program, any file which you have created, any folder which you want to open quickly. Like you can see some shortcut icons on my desktop. This is the shortcut to Word. This is to Excel. This is to OpenBoard. I'm going to remove these shortcuts and I'm going to add them once again. Okay. So how I'm going to do that? So firstly, I will right click over here and I'll go to the new option. And in the new option, I'm going to 1 second. First, I'll switch on the Glassbrick application. So who is it? Please mute yourself. Mute yourself. Mute your mic. Ananya Tiwari, mute your mic. Yes. So right click over here. Go to new and from here you go to shortcut option. So you will see this dialog box over here. Now type the location. So normally we don't remember the location. So what you can do is you can go to browse and from here you want to add a shortcut to say you want to add a shortcut to Word 2016. So I should know where Word is. Normally MS Word, MS Excel are there in a folder. I'll tell you where it is. We'll go to this PC first of all. In this PC, go to C drive, go to program files. If it is a 64-bit operating system which you are using, go to program files. And there you have to go to Microsoft Office, Office 16 folder, come down, just scroll down and look for something like WinWord. So this is Excel. This is the exe file for Excel, not this one, students. Okay, you have to go for this one, Excel, where Excel is written in capital letters. And I'm going to look for MS Word also. So I'll just go on scrolling here. So I have to look for something like WinWord. So here it is WinWord. This is Windows Word. That is exe file which runs your MS Word. So I'll click on this, click on OK. So this whole path appears over here. Then click on next. So now I'll be clicking on next. And here I can type a shortcut. So I'll type here Word 2016. Click on finish and it appears over here. So now when I double click on this, it will open MS Word. Not only this, you can also first of all open the location using your file explorer. So I'll go to C drive, go to program files, I'll go to say Microsoft Office, Office 16, look for something like I just typed P over here. I typed P once again. So I'll find here PowerPoint. Okay, so I can right click on it and I can select send to and I can click on what? Desktop. So this will add it to the desktop. So when I click on it, now I check the desktop, you can see PowerPoint shortcut has been added. Not only this, you can also add shortcuts to your files. Like suppose I'll go to D drive and I have a file over here. Say it's somewhere in Enquesta and here I want to add a shortcut to this second video, right? So I'll right click on it. I'll go to send to, I'll go to desktop. Now I'll go to my desktop and I'll double click this. It will open my file. It will open this. So it opens the appropriate file. Understood? So this way I can not only create shortcuts to application programs, but also to files and folders. So here also right click, send to desktop, create shortcut, and you can create a shortcut. Next is adding gadgets on the desktop. Now students, adding gadgets in Windows 10, they have completely removed this feature called gadgets. If you check the offline lecture, there I have explained this installation of gadgets in great detail. I'm not going to go into the details over here because it was an offline lecture which you were supposed to watch earlier. Okay, so please do watch that video where I have, in that video I have explained in great detail how to download an 8 gadgets software. The name is 8 gadgets. Okay, it's a small application which you have to download, install it, and you can add gadgets on your screen. So watch that. Now normally in Windows 10 they have added these gadgets over here. That is, you have a 3D viewer, you have alarms and clocks. So if I click on alarms and clock, I've already set alarms for the end of periods. Okay, so you can see that over here. I have clock over here. So you can see right now the clock is this. Timer. If I want, I can switch on the timer. That is to see the elapsed time. You can click on pause. I have a stopwatch facility also over here. Not only that, I also have weather. So I'll just click on this. These are small gadgets which you can use, small application programs which you can use to perform small operations. Okay. So like this right now, the weather over here, you can see it. I can search for any location, like I want to say check out London, United Kingdom. Just click on that and it will show me the weather for United Kingdom. So it is clear, and right now it is night time over there. Okay. And I want to check the weather of Jammu. So I can see that also. So this is how it is. So there also we have thunderstorms. So you can check out the weather of any place which you want. Okay, so I'll set it again back to Bhopal only. So this is the weather for Bhopal. And not only this, I can see it for the next 10 days also. Right. Then you also have other things like you have a calculator, you have a calendar option over here. So you can check out the date and time. You can set your schedule also in the calendar, right? So calendar option helps us to set our daily schedules or weekly schedule or monthly schedule. Like this is the calendar for August. Now, if you want, you can see the schedule of a day. Like if I click on day, it changes into day. So it starts from time 0 and ends at 23. That is takes up how many? 24 hours. And right now it is 10:17. So this line shows the current time. Suppose I want to set a reminder for 2 o'clock. So what I'll do is I'll just double click over here in 2 o'clock. Just type the event name. Suppose the event name is favorite, watch the news. I need to watch the news today. So I've set it. If you click on all day, it will keep you reminding all day. Rather, if I want to be reminded 15 minutes before, so I can just choose some time like 3, not 13:30, but I can take 13:45 to 2. Right. Remind me 15 minutes before. More details, you can provide more details if you want. Like what is the event description? I want to watch the news to get the latest updates on SSR case. So suppose I am waiting for some news update on this. So I will click on it, and what I am going to do is just go back, save, and this is how a reminder is set. Now for using calendar, you have to log in using your personal email. So you can even use your Gmail ID for logging into this, and that logging in is also explained properly in that video, so you can check it out. Week, you can see a weekly schedule. Okay, what is the schedule for this week? So if there is any any holiday or any event coming up. So you can see it over here, like this event is there on 29th, and on 31st you have Onam. Okay, so all these events, also some local holidays also you can check from there. Then you have month. If you want to set a monthly schedule, you can get that also over here. Like you can see very well, like how the Indian holidays are automatically highlighted over here. Then year, you can get a yearly schedule also. So this is how you Microsoft Windows 10 already provides to you all the basic widgets or all the basic gadgets. Like you have a camera gadget also over here, connect. Okay, so all these gadgets are already provided by Windows 10. Next is working with files and folders. So creating and saving a file. So how do we create a file? Suppose firstly we need to set a location to save the file. The very first thing which I want to tell you all is avoid saving everything on the desktop. Keep your desktop clean as much as possible, and desktop is a location which falls within C drive. If I just show you, this is your C drive, and from here we'll go to users. From here, users, Gargi PC, and here you can see desktop, documents, downloads, music, pictures. These all are the locations within C drive. So avoid saving anything over here. Rather, you can consider saving things on some other drive like D drive or E drive. So this is my D drive. Within this, if I have to create a new folder, I can click on this new folder icon, or I can go to new item, create new folder, or right click new folder. So when I type this, I can just type a name, my personal folder, or any name which you want, press enter. Okay, and within this folder now you can create a file. How? Right click new. Now these are some of the commonly used or heavily used applications. Some applications which you can see over here, you can create a file in Microsoft Access. This will depend upon the type of software which is installed on your computer. If your computer doesn't have CorelDRAW, you will not get this option. Okay, so I'm not using CorelDRAW right now because I usually switch my internet off as I'm using a pirated version of it. Okay, then Microsoft Word document you can create, Microsoft PowerPoint presentation, text document, Excel worksheet, zipped folder, anything which you want you can create. For example, I'll show you text document. Just click on this. So you get this new text document. If you want, you can leave it like that, or you can click on it and click once again, or click on it and select this option rename, or click on it and press F2 key from your keyboard. Okay, so that way you can easily edit the name. So it is highlighted. You can simply type a name, a text file. Suppose I am typing a text file over here. Press enter and it will open Notepad and you can type anything. Control S for save, close the file, and we'll wait for it to close. And double click on this and you can see that it opens. Okay, so this is how you can create your file and folder and even save it. Next is creating a folder. I explained. Renaming also I explained. Deleting files and folders. How you can delete your files and folders. Yes. Yes. Yes, Jay Tripathi. Yes. Rakshit Srivastav, you want to ask anything?
Ma'am,
Hmm.
due to some issue, the call got disconnected, so I rejoined the meeting.
Okay, no man, no problem. Good that you do. Okay. So next is deleting a file. Can anyone tell me how can you delete a file on your desktop? Yes, Jay Tripathi. Suyog Gupta, yes.
Ma'am, I am
Ma'am, we can
ready.
select the,
1 second. Yes. Tell me.
M-
ma'am, we
Ma'am,
can
my
select the application plus delete
Mm-hmm.
option.
Yes, you can press the delete option, delete button on your keyboard. Yes, Mohit Virmani. See, just select the file or folder, right click delete, or press the delete button on your keyboard. That's very easy. So these are very common and very easy desktop operations. Moving files and folders. Now let's see how to move files and folders. So for moving files and folders, it is very essential that you first open your File Explorer. So where is your File Explorer? You can see it over here. This icon is your File Explorer. Okay. Alternatively, in the search box, you can just type File, and the first option which you get is the File Explorer. So just open that. And here what you can see is all the recent files, all the files which you worked recently, or else, yes.
Microsoft 10 only, Windows 10 only.
No, you can get this File Explorer in all versions of Windows. Windows 7 also, Windows Vista also, Windows 8 also, anywhere. File Explorer you will find everywhere. So here you can see quick access. That is mostly I use this area. That is I use this folder Microsoft Teams. So I have pinned it to quick access. So what I can do is click on this. I can reach that location. If you want to pin any file to the quick access, what you can do is, suppose I want to pin this my Python programs. So I'll just first click on my Python programs. I will go to that location, and then I'll right click on this quick access panel, which you can see over here. Right click, and I will type here pin current folder to quick access. So when I click this my Python programs is pinned. You can see a pin symbol over here, a push pin symbol over here. It means it is pinned over here. This is another location which I had created for a scoring app, because I keep working on my quiz app. Okay, so I had pinned those locations over here also. So this is how I have pinned these locations. If you want to move files, what to do? So I'll select some images which I can easily move. So these are some images, and I want to move them to a folder. So suppose I have a folder here, pics. So I want to move these. So what I can do is I can select them. Now see, I'm using a simple drag and drop. I'm just keeping the left mouse button pressed and dragging the mouse. Okay. Otherwise, what you can do is click the first one, keep the shift key pressed, click the last one. All of them will be selected. Now, suppose you don't want to select all of them. You want to select the first one, third one, fifth one, and so on. So keep the control key pressed on your keyboard. Select the first one, then the non-adjacent files. So control key, if you press it, it allows you to select non-adjacent files. Now, using your mouse, what you can do is just drag them and drop it in pics. Okay. This way you can do it, or else. Now I'm going to press Ctrl Z to undo the operation. You can also click on the files, and to move it, you can right click, select cut option, go to the folder, right click, paste. So these files will reach the folder. Okay, Ctrl Z. There is now how to copy the file. Suppose I want to copy these files into this folder. So one way is right click, copy, go to the folder, right click, paste. This is one way. Okay. Another way is keep the control key pressed. First select the files. Suppose I want to select this file, and this file. So I pressed, kept the control key pressed, selected them, and now I have released the control key. Now to move this, now I'm not going to move, I'm going to copy. Just place another copy of these files here. Means the file should be present here also and here also. So now keep the control key pressed. Use your left mouse button, drag it and drop it here. Now you can see that these files are not removed from this location and they are present in this location also. Is it clear to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Next
Is
is,
it train again?
yes. Once again,
Ma'am, attendance.
I've taken, dear. Once again, I'll explain with some other option, with some other example. Suppose I'll go to D drive, and over here you can see this arrow mark. Just click on this arrow mark to expand D drive. Now what I want is, I'm going to Microsoft Teams, and in this I'll just expand this Microsoft Teams online class. I'll go to class 9 folder, and I want to save send the images to this folder, that is images. I have some images over here, right? And these images I want to send to some other folder, that is exercises. So what to do? So I'll first select those images. Now this is how I can select. I'm simply keeping the left mouse button pressed, dragging through the images. So this way I can select them, or I can click on those, click the first image. Suppose I want to select this image till this image. So I'll select this image, keep the shift key pressed, select the last one. Okay, this way I can select adjacent files, files which are one after the other. But if you want to select this file, then this file, then this file, then this file, how to do that? Keep the control key pressed, select the first file, leave the second one, then this, then this, then this, then this. And now what you can do is, if you want to move it, that is cut it from this location and save it, one way is right click, cut, come to images, right click, paste. Sorry, come to exercises, right click, paste. Like I'm going to cut it from here. Now I'll go to exercise. You can see exercises over here, right? So I will right click on exercise and I will select paste. They are gone from here, and I'll go to exercise now. And you can see these images are pasted here. I'll go back to images and I'll press Ctrl Z. I'll bring those images back. Now what you want to do is, you want to select images. Suppose I have selected these images and I've selected this one. And now I want to copy these to exercises. Copy means the original ones will stay here and a copy will be pasted here. So right click, copy, go to exercise, right click, paste. This way also I can do it. Okay. Or I can simply do it this way, that is right click on exercises, click on paste. Or what I can do is, I'll remove these from here. Now I want to select these files. So I'm selecting this one, keep the shift key pressed, select this one, press delete. Go back to images, select some files. Now I want to copy them using my mouse. So I'll keep my control key pressed on the keyboard, press the left mouse button, drag it. Now I'm dragging it. You can see 5 over there. Come to exercises and drop it there. And click on exercises. You can see these images are here also, and they are within the images folder also. So for cut, copy, paste, if you want to copy the files using your mouse pointer only, then what you have to do is this. Wait. If you want to copy the file, copy files using your mouse pointer, using your mouse, then you will have to keep your control key pressed. Please mute yourself. Kartik Tripathi, mute yourself, please. Keep the control key pressed and click the. Again, you unmuted yourself. Who is it? Students, please keep your microphones off. Who is doing this again? And Amey Patak, keep your microphone off. Keep the control key pressed. Click the left mouse button. Okay. And drag it to the destination folder. Again and again, this boy. Kartik Tripathi, why don't you understand here? Why are you unmuting yourself again and again? Drag it to the destination folder and release the mouse button. Okay, so this way, what will happen? You can easily copy your files. I hope everybody understood this. Please watch the offline lecture if you want to understand it. If you have still not been able to understand this, you can watch the offline lecture. There I have explained it in detail. Okay. But I hope everybody has understood this.
Ma'am.
Okay, good. Next is starting and shutting down a computer. Now I'm not going to do that because I'll just tell you the method. That's because if I shut down the computer, our meeting will stop abruptly. Now, why shutting down? Normally, we can also switch off. Yes.
Ma'am, I have doubt. Ma'am,
But
yesterday,
can I just complete the topic and then you can ask me? I had told you multiple times not to interrupt in between.
okay.
So can you just write your question on a piece of paper and ask me at the end of class? So starting and shutting down a computer, how do we do it? So on your systems, you already have this start button, okay? And here you can see this power button. Click on the power button and you get three options: sleep, shut down, and restart. So let us read what is written here. In sleep, the PC stays on but uses low power. Apps stay open, so when the PC wakes up, you are instantly back to where you left off. Suppose you are working on your computer for a very long time and you need to you get a phone call from your friend and you realize that your system might be unnecessarily on for a long time. Suppose you are just going away for 15 minutes or 20 minutes or half an hour. So instead of because you intend to come back and then resume your work. So in that case, again and again, shutting down the computer should be avoided. Instead, you can keep your system in the sleep mode. So if you select sleep option, you will see that the monitor goes off and the hard disk also stops. Processor also stops for some time. Everything cools down and your system is awake. That is, whenever you move your mouse pointer, your system will again start and you can again resume from where you had stopped. Next option is shutdown. So everybody knows what shutdowns. It closes all the apps and turns off the PC. So normally when you are off for a long time, that is overnight, you should never leave your system in the sleep mode at night. At night, when you stop all your work, your system would be off for 7 to 8 hours. So for that purpose, you need to switch off your computer. Next is restart. Restart it comes under the category of warm booting. There are two types of booting. I'll tell you what is booting. Booting means it's a technical term which is used for starting of computer. Starting of computer in the proper manner. That is, your operating system starts, okay, your first ROM BIOS, it starts, it will perform a complete system check, then it will load the kernel of operating system, then all your application programs will be starting up. Okay, so all these things, that is known as booting. So there are two types of booting. One is cold booting, cold boot, and warm boot. Cold boot means shut down. When you shut down your computer and then start, that is cold booting. That is your system shut down, it cooled down overnight, and then you started. That is cold booting. Warm booting means restart. That is, it will, I'll tell you what it is. Restart stands for closes all apps, turns off the PC, and then turns it on again. So it will shut down everything, but it will then again start the computer. So that is warm booting. That is, your system is not off and you are again starting it. So that is the reason why your system is still warm. So it is warm booting, and this is cold booting. Okay, you can write this down somewhere in your copy. So it is very important to shut down. Why? Because during shutdown, there are a lot many processes which take place. Okay, your apps and programs, they are closed, all your data is saved, the system status is also saved. One by one things keep closing, and that is the reason why shutdown takes some time. But most of you have a very bad habit. When you come to the computer lab for doing your practicals, you directly shut off the main power supply, which is absolutely a wrong practice. Okay, why? Because if you abruptly shut down everything, there are, and if you keep on once or twice, if you do that, nothing happens. But when you keep on doing this again and again, okay, you will notice that your system files, they get corrupted, and there would be one time when your system will not start and it will ask for repair. So do not do this, and always have a UPS at home, because sometimes it happens that electricity, there are certain days, like usually the first initial days of rain after a hot summer, or during summer days when the transformer is overloaded with a lot of like power supply. Okay, so those days what happens, there are a lot of power fluctuations, because of which your electricity comes and goes very frequently. So during that time, it is very important to have a UPS, because stands for uninterrupted power supply. So the UPS, it keeps giving you power uninterruptedly, and and it has an internal battery, and it has some lights. There are 3 lights on it. One is a red light, one is an orange light, and one is a green light. Okay, green light says that right now it is running on power supply, that electricity is there and your system is running on power supply. When the electricity goes back, it quickly switches to the battery mode, and it starts, the orange LED light starts glowing. That is, it is running on the battery power, and that will give you only 20 minutes of backup. 15 to 20 minutes of backup, not more than that. So you should always consider properly switching off your computer. So it gives you enough time to save your data and to switch off your computer properly. And red means your battery is exhausted. It needs repair or replacement. Either it has to be repaired or replaced. Like my computer's UPS, it has gone for a repair and its internal battery has totally worn out, and it will be replaced, and then only again I'll be able to start using it. So I don't use my desktop much these days because there are a lot of power fluctuations, and because of this, you know what will happen if you keep on switching off your computer abruptly, your system files, they get corrupted. So please, and next time, and there would come one time when you won't be able to start your computer. Okay, so avoid switching off your computer directly. Always follow the proper shutdown process. And how do you switch on your computer? Can anyone tell me? How do you switch on your computer? If you have a computer, how do you switch it on? Who will tell me? Yes, Mohit Kumar.
First is just click on CPU button.
Yes, there is a power button on the CPU. There is a, 1 second. Let me also check. There is a power button on the CPU and it looks somewhat like this. Have you seen this type of a button? This is the power button. So you have it on your laptop also, and you have it on your CPU also. So you have to switch on this button. End of period 3. Yes, so we'll be just ending with this. So we have a CPU, a power button on the CPU, which when you click, it will switch on your computer. And if you click it again, nowadays all the modern CPUs, when you switch off this power button, it will follow the proper shutdown. But earlier it was not so. You click on the power button and it would abruptly shut down your computer. But these days, power button also follows the complete shutdown procedure. So always follow this, and you also have a small restart button also, which is used in case your system hangs or freezes. So I hope you all understood how to properly shut down your computer, how to start your computer, and I really expect you all to follow this also. When our schools reopen and we start with our classes, you should follow all these steps in the computer lab. Okay, so thank you everyone. I'll stop the share and get ready for your test everybody. Thank you.